Well, welcome today again to another episode of Music with Tony. And I'm Tony, your host. And I hope that you've been enjoying so far what we've been doing. We're on episode 6 now, which is it's pretty cool. Just seems like yesterday was the first one. But as you can tell, this show is about music and loving music and songwriting and music theory and just sharing a little bit, songs that I've written throughout the years. And I was counting one day, and I think I have over 130, 40 songs that through the past 25 years I've written. And a lot of them I didn't never really played publicly or out. So I'm really stretching myself in sharing a lot of this stuff, but I feel like I need to share it because I didn't write it to just put it away and sit in some, folder for all of my life. So, if somebody can get something out of it, maybe through some of the lyrics or whatever, or the story behind it, that's what I'm looking to be able to share because music is amazing to me. And I always get fascinated with music, and every time I sit down and play guitar, it's just I listen to the melodies that come out, from the sound of the guitar, and it's just certain things just tickle your ears and like, ooh, I like that, so I'm gonna start off this episode with a song called Vermont, and I wrote this specifically for Vermont I think I wrote it back in 2000 ish, because I had lived in Vermont in the mid 90s, and I graduated high school at Green Mountain, and then I had to move away in late 97. I think it was early 98, and I moved back to Michigan where a lot of my family was, and circumstances pushed me out of Vermont. And I loved Vermont, though. I fell in love with it as a teenager, and so I lived in Michigan right outside of Detroit area for a lot of years in the city life. And to be honest with you, I was never really a city boy, but that's where I was. And so I made the best of it for a lot of years. But this song I wrote pretty quick because I missed being out here. I missed the mountains. I missed the people. I missed all the wooden covered bridges, and the dusty dirt roads that are all over. And I had a 1974 Volkswagen VW, a Bug, and it was fun. It was black with a dark orange hood on it, and I had plastered with band stickers. And in fact, some of the band stickers were holding up the rear fender. I remember that because the fender was like rusting off. So I just plastered stickers all over it, and that car was fun. I would take off in the morning, and I would just follow a dirt road. I was living at Chester at the time. And so I would just follow a dirt road, and I'd wind up in Ludlow, or I'd wind up somewhere way like I never even thought about, like back over in Grafton somehow, or Londonderry, just kind of like way back there. And it was just such a beautiful ride, and I never knew where I was going because, that was back before GPS anyway. So it was, you had a physical map. So I just kind of went out and, hey, turn left here, turn right here, just wherever, and had fun with it, And anyway, so I really loved being in Vermont. It was very peaceful. The air is cleaner, the food's better. I'm very partial to Vermont. So when I got to move back a few years ago, I was very thankful. And so this song is kind of like, for me, just something special, and that really came out. Like the chords and everything were really like how I was feeling, and you can kind of feel it in the chords too. So it's called Vermont, and here we go. Mountain States, oh, where have you been? Well, it's been so long, well, since I've been around. Well, here I am, oh, way over here, wondering when I might find the time to come. Oh, the winding roads that lead to everywhere. mountain tops, well, they never end. All the memories, oh, of things long ago. Well, it seems like yesterday, but it was so long ago. All the turning leaves, oh, are so beautiful. We're driving down old dusty roads. Oh, the memories, oh, of things long ago. When I stand in awe, oh, of you, oh, and your hand. Will I stand in awe of you? Will I stand in awe of you? Will I stand in awe of you? So it's just a song, like I said, just of memories and things that had happened and experiences, and beautiful out here. Of course, the whole New England state is beautiful, you know, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine. I mean, it's just incredibly, it's breathtaking for me, and the mountains are just majestic, and it's just peaceful, it's tranquil. You know, it's cool being able to just leave the house and see a mountain. It's very peaceful for me, you know, and it's, I don't know, I'll never take it for granted, because I was away for so long, and I longed to be back in the mountains again. So yeah, so fun little song, and just a heartfelt. Another one is just, hey, you know, I just kind of share what I'm feeling, and so yeah. So I figure we do a little bit of music theory today again. I kind of touched on the circle of notes in a past episode, and I'm going to be touching on them pretty regularly, because I know there's a lot involved with music theory and understanding chords and scales, and I'm going to try to simplify it as best as I can, and then you can take it from there. You can dig a lot deeper. There's so much to dig into. I mean, it's just, you can get very in depth with the music theory, but I can give you stuff to get started to understand how chords are made, and what are scales, and that sort of thing. So I love that chord. It's a D major 7th. And it's the major 7th chords are cool because they got like a little, almost like a bluesy tune to them, kind of jazzy, but yet it's also a mellow kind of sound to it. You know, it's cool. So, but yeah, that there is a D major 7th. Really easy to play. All right, so I'm gonna take off the guitar for a moment, and I hope everybody's having a good week so far, and enjoying some of the sunshine that's been out. It's been nice, and the warmer weather. We're kind of getting into that season now, so it's nice to be able to feel the sun cooking down and be out, do some gardening, or maybe if you're doing some vegetables and flowers, and you know, getting ready for the summer. And yeah, it's a good time. You know, it makes you feel happy. The sun's out. You're getting the vitamin D, and you're just happy, and it's a good season. Spring, it's like a season of new, you know, like new, just like hey, we come out of winter, we made it, we didn't freeze to death, and now we're moving into spring. The birds are coming around and singing. And actually, I just saw a hummingbird yesterday, which is cool. I was in my vehicle, and a hummingbird came over by the antenna and just kind of like floated there for a few seconds and then took off. But it was really neat to see them. I find them fascinating. I don't know about you, but I think hummingbirds are just very, it's just amazing their movements and how they can just stay perfectly still and then just move a little bit, and that's kind of cool. So anyway, so this is what I call the circle of notes. I know we've gone through this before, but this is going to be, again, I'm just going to keep showing it. And this is kind of for how I learned, because I learned scales off this, and then I learned how to create chords and how to understand music theory, and how to understand when you're playing a G chord. Well, what's in a G chord? It's a 1-3-5. And on guitar, a lot of those are repeated. So, the notes that are in that chord, you might play, 2 times maybe, the same, like a B note is played a few times, on the guitar for a G chord. And so there's it's a cool thing once you start understanding. So this is the circle. So I put it as a circle because it never ends. So like I shared with before, it goes, so this is advancing. So you'd be moving up, and your pitches like higher, and then, going back would be obviously lowering, going down an octave or going up an octave. And so from here, I have a little system of how you can pick any note in here, and figure out a scale. So let's say, you want to figure out what a G scale is. So we're going to start off with G, and then each notch is a half step. So this is a half step, this is a half step, and every 2 notches, that's a whole step. So, so you'd be going, there's starting at G would be like the root note, I call it, which is my little pattern here. So we got root, and then you do a whole note, and then you jump another whole note, and then a half note, and then a whole note, whole note, whole note. And that would give you your scale for whatever it is you're looking to do. So here I have written down is the A. I wrote down the A scale. So here I have them numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And so that is the numerical part of, when you're the circle of notes. So your root would be the 1. So you got your A, and then a whole step, which is 2 notches on the circle of notes here. I'll just hold them both up. and then, as a whole step, so that would be a B. And then you go another whole step, which is another 2 notches off of here, advancing clockwise, would be C sharp. And then a half step from there is a D. And then a whole step again, 2 notches, would be an E. And then another 2 notches, we're going to be an F sharp. And then another 2 notches from there is going to be an A flat. So one thing you will always have with the circle of notes in figuring out your scale is so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So your 7th will always be a half step below your root. So you figured it out right. So if you're counting, maybe you got off somewhere and did a whole somewhere where it shouldn't have been, or added in another whole step. So it's actually pretty easy. It's actually numerical. So this opens up a new door though, because so these here labeled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So a major chord is a 1, 3, 5. So you'd have your 1, which is an A, 3, which is the C sharp, and the 5, which is your E. And so there you have your A chord. And piano, it's really easy to, because you could just do, you can see everything right there. It's a little bit easier, especially playing flats and sharps. It's like guitar players, a lot of guys, cringe at flats and sharps, like it's this whole other world, but really it's not. Once you learn your bar chords, and you can move fluently through anything, and it wouldn't matter whether flat, sharp, major, because you know where to go, and it's not scary. So don't let that be a hindrance to you, especially as a guitar player, because I know it is. The thought of a B flat or an E flat, it's like, oh, you know. But there are other ways you can capo the guitar to get, you can bump it up a half step and you can capo all that. So you're playing a B flat, open, or an E flat, and it makes it easier if you want to go that direction. But yeah, don't let it scare you. It's just all it is just a number and a letter, and well, letters really. So yeah, it's cool though because once you start getting into other chords, like I like playing like a sixth. So let's say a sixth is going to be a 1, 3, 5, 6. So it would be an A, C sharp, because that's your third. Then your fifth is your E, and your sixth is an F sharp. And so you'd have, that which is a sixth. And now I really like the minor sixth. So I'm going to get into something. I'm just going to mention this real quick, but this will be another sheet that I will make up for this. But if you flat to third, that's called a minor. So 1, flat 3, 5 is a minor chord. So you would have 1 would be the A, and then you have your 3, and then you flat that, which is a half step, is going to be a C instead of a C sharp. So it's going to be in between the B and the C. And then you have your 5, which is E. So, and it spells ace, so it's really easy to remember too. Not a way to remember it. I tried to deter when I was teaching, like to remember it like that. It's just, you want to remember like the format of where the notes are and what's before them, what's afterwards. And especially as bass players, and I'm going to mention this every single time, but as a bass player, if you want to be a successful bass player, learn your scales. And so that you can play alternate bass notes and you can play, when somebody's playing an A chord, what's in that A, like the notes. And so you can play alternate versions and do like cool walks. And instead of just, some songs are kind of boring where you're stuck on, an A or an E or a G, and that's all you do, where you can mix it up with the bass. You can slide up to an octave and do, a higher, like play the third or play the fifth off of it, So yeah, so that's a start. So today's scale is A, and again, it's the A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, and A flat. Now you're probably wondering why I picked, C sharp compared to saying D flat. So these are actually, they're identical. They're the same note. But for whatever reason in the music world, everybody that I've met over the years, we just, we call it, like the C sharp instead of a D flat, C sharp, and we pick the F sharp and the A flat. I don't know why. It's just kind of is that way. But it's the same thing, whether you call it a G sharp or an A flat. Same exact note. Nothing changes. Now, one thing I learned years ago is that with the flats and the sharps, like if you're progressing through a song, let's say you have an A, and then you have, C sharp minor you're playing, and then you go to like an E, and then you have like an E over A flat, and it's a progression up. Usually you'd sharp the notes. So it would be, A, and then it would be C sharp, and then it would be E, and then the E over A flat, instead of calling the A flat, it would be a G sharp. But that's just, it's something that's not even important, to be honest with you. It's a little technical thing that really, it's each person's different. It's the same thing regardless. So don't get too caught up on the little stuff like that. Either way, it's the same note. So yeah, I hope that helps. And I did bring a chord today that I would like to show you. And this is really for beginners because this is one of the easiest guitar chords you could ever play. So this is looking at your neck is going to be to the left, kind of like you're actually playing. And so here you're going to have 2nd fret, 5th string, you're going to have your first finger, or there's many ways to play this. You can play it a few different ways, but this would be the E chord. So this string is going to be open, which is the O. This string would be open because it's the O. This string would be open, and then this string would be open. Now, if I had an X in here, it would be that the string would be muted, so you wouldn't play it at all. So let's say this string was, muted, X'd, had an X over here. That's how I'll represent the chords. So you'd mute them. Which, when you get into bar chords, which at some point I'll show, that's kind of that's what you'll be looking for. And because bar chords, you're going to have to mute some strings and play others. So it's kind of tricky how your hand formations, but nothing too difficult. If you practice at it, you're going to do wonderful. Anybody can do it, because any musician started from ground zero at some point, and where they didn't know how to play, or didn't know how to make a chord or anything. And trying to mute strings and have open ones, you twang them and make all kinds of crazy noises, and eventually you get there to where your hand gets memory of how to play that without you having to struggle so hard with it. So be encouraged, because it's a good thing. If you spend time on it, even if you spend 5 minutes a day, you will progress pretty quickly on guitar. So this is the E minor chord, and this is pretty much in every song you could ever imagine. All the biggest songs you've ever heard, has that chord in it for the most part. So yeah. Well, it's time to play some more music. So here we go. This next song I'm going to play is called Heart's Desire. And, oops, all right. It's called Heart's Desire, and I was reading through the Bible one day, and I was reading about King David, and I was reading about Moses, and I was reading about Paul. And I was reading how these people just walked by faith, and they lived their lives, and they messed up at certain points. Like David, it's interesting, because the Bible says that God said that he is a man after his own heart, yet he literally did some horrid things. But David was somebody who he repented, and he came back to God, and no matter what he did or how bad it was, and God said that he was a man after his own heart. And that gave me hope, because I've throughout my life, it's like I've struggled, well, like a lot of us, you just right and wrong sometimes, and it's like sometimes you just do things that's like, back in the day anyway, for me. I used to do a lot of bad stuff, and I praise God that he saved me from that, and so I don't do that stuff anymore. But he had compassion on me, and so it's exciting that, you don't have to try to meet this expectation to be something you're not. You just be yourself and let God, he knows that. It's not a surprise. He just loves you for you and who you are. So don't be afraid to come to him. So this song, like I said, it's called Heart's Desire. And this kind of is about those three guys who really inspired me a lot. So here we go. He loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. He loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. He loves you, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, Jesus does. David danced well for you with all of his might. Moses dared to go up to the mountain and talk with you. Paul was blinded for 3 days and he realized your love. Lord, open my heart that I may see yours. Open the eyes of your people, that we might see like you. Open the heart of your people, that we might was something more, oh, to you. Moses dared to go, and he talked with you as a friend talks to a friend. Paul gave up everything, and he sacrificed his life for you. Lord, give me strength, live my life, yeah, pleasing to you. Oh, open the eyes of your people, oh, let me my love like you. Open the hearts of your people, oh, let me my love like you, yeah. Open the eyes of your people, let me might see your love. Open the heart of your people, let me might love like you. Yeah, once again. Oh, once again. Where there's a place I can go, where there's hope and love. Oh, no matter what I've done, oh, there's love that conquers all. is always very relaxing to me, to just play those open chords and just kind of move around and experiment, kind of moving up the neck. You never know what kind of sound you're going to get until you try. And, you just experiment. Especially that chord right there, the C and the D are just two of my absolute favorites. Especially when I'm playing along with people and they hit a D chord, and it's just cool to accent it with that special D chord where I just played open. It just sounds cool when you're playing with other people, and it's just got a pretty sound to it anyway, Kind of hard to pick up here, but it has a cool tone. But you hit the fretboard and it kind of shoves your pick everywhere. Well, I'm going to do one more song here to end the day today, but this is considered a typical 12-bar blues. You can do a lot of different variations with it. This one's in the key of E, but you can do lots of variations. That's the cool part, with the blues. It's a lot of fun, so... speed it up. Add a third. I like slowing it down. Oh yeah. Well, there's a little bit of blues for the day, and yeah. Well, I hope you have a wonderful week this week, and if you need prayer for anything, please be sure to send me an email at musicwithtony. Show.com at gmail.com. Sorry. And I'll be glad to pray for you, and have friends and family who are also praying with me, so that your needs are met, and God's going to shine through for you. He says, even have faith of a mustard seed, which is a tiny little speck that grows into this massive tree. And he says, you'll be taken care of, and God is faithful. So I just want to thank you for tuning in, and thank you for joining me today. And I hope that, if you have any comments on music stuff, music theory, anything I've gone over today, please be sure to send me an email or make a comment on the website. And I'll be glad to get back with you as soon as I can. So have a great day.